Oh, my cropping got reset. Oh no. Oh, my cropping got reset.
Alright, let's
no.
fix this real quick. I'm still a newbie at this. Why is it showing up as him? There we go. Okay. Oh. Well, that was easy. Alright guys, welcome to another HOpen match. I am Flurry14, going to be joined by Terasu in just a couple minutes. Today's match is between PixelTamer, CrimsonAvix, KartoffelKaiser, and Tinglenator. All four of these fine folks have 6 points, so I expect this to be a pretty tight race. We do have a Rosa start. Always good to see. And we will be started in just a second. My apologies if sound gets a little weird. I'm still kind of new at this, don't hate me. And it looks like they should be off right about now. Okay, I might have pushed my timer a little too early. And let's see what our first key item is. This is V1, your standard leaf flag, so we're looking for Adamant and Legend Sword, as well as a way to the moon via the Darkness Crystal or the Past. We get a Protect Ring. That's not terribly helpful as far as key items go, but it is nice to see Sid here as a secondary character. Sid is an excellent starting character, starts at level 20, comes with the wooden hammer, which is not terribly bad. Combine that with Rosa and a Protect Ring, you're pretty sure all four of these runners aren't going to have that much of an issue with the first two fights. We'll see if this makes any of our runners eschew a little bit of looting. Sometimes you like to see Baron skipped, but it doesn't look like we're going to see that here. We will get to see who the third character may end up being. Well, actually the fourth. And it's Rydia. Okay, well, Rydia's always a solid find. Octomom is the first boss. You kind of want to see a harder boss there because that spot only has 400 HP. Nothing terribly good in the shop. Finding an elixir in Rose's house kind of makes sense. If I was a white mage, I'd probably want to keep an elixir there to myself. And we'll see if whether or not the runners decide to check Hobbs or Antlion Cave first. Given a Sid start, and especially if we find a good bow and arrow in Damsian or here in Baron, may want to check Hobbs first. It's a little bit more of a difficult fight, and Sid starting with 780 HP shouldn't be a problem. We'll see. Runners checking the shop. Succubi are actually not a pretty nice item to find. They're cheap. It's free psych, but it is a little situational. There's only about a couple characters that you're actually going to want to use it for, and none of which are in our party. So PixelTamer is going to give us the first look at Dancian. CrimsonAvix is going to head to Kaipo. And we'll get to see who the sleeping character is, and that is Tella, one of my favorite characters to find sleeping, because if you get the Sand Ruby, then at any point in time you can pick them up and you have a decent grind for the moon, and you have an excellent anchor. So Sid, IMO, it's a sleeper MVP in this seed, if you ask me. I did see mute arrows in the inventory for Avix, so it looks like we at least have a good arrow set. 4 Rage is the only item of note in Kaipo. Generally want to pick those up just in case you run into a Kanazo. Tinglenator is going to check the demist spot first. If you happen to find demist, you get a free key item out of it. So not wanting to leave anything behind, we see Leviathan in the demist spot. Is probably going to check the Octomom spot too. PixelTamer is going to give us a look at Hobbs. Oh, we got an Elven Bow too. Okay, so Rose is kitted out, and we got a Rune Axe. Oh my goodness. This should not be a problem at all. At this point, I think our runners just want to see productive characters, aka characters not named Edward. Although there was a Dancing Dagger in Baron, so it wouldn't be too bad if that's what we saw. And the character is Kane. Fantastic. But it's a Moon Boss. Let's see which Moon Boss we got. Plague. Alright, Plague can be a little tricky. He's going to cast Count. It's going to throw a little timer on each of the characters' heads. It's going to count down to 0. And at this low level, for whatever reason, in my opinion, it always seems to go very, very fast. And this spot has about 1500, so you can see you don't have a lot of time to do the kind of damage you need to take him out. As you can get there, now you can circumvent this by using a kamikaze to get one of your characters killed, or like have them go into battle already swooned, then use a life potion, and that will get rid of that, and then he'll recast Count. But wasn't able to get it done in time. Plague's kind of an annoying boss to find. That would be PixelTamer heads into Antline Cave. I don't blame him whatsoever. Bandana's a nice find. +5 strength. Mute arrows, excellent for Rosa. They will exploit a weakness on a couple of bosses that would otherwise be annoying. Avix is going to find Plague here and be slightly annoyed. I know I would be. Let's see, if Avix found multiple, but okay, he did not. They're gonna try to equip him here, but I think Iron Arrows is gonna be this. Not gonna do quite enough damage. This is around 400. And you got about 1,000 more to go. All right, so he's gonna try to. He tried to get Kane out of the way. But I don't think that worked out. So we're going to see a Moon Boss in that line. That's always very happy to see, as long as it's not Wyvern. And sure enough, there's the Wyvern. So this is definitely a HOpen seed. Two spots that are very likely to eliminate you in the Hobbs and the Antline Cave. Now, it's not too bad. Provided that we found Starvels. We do have Sid as an anchor, which would usually be a pretty good call, but with everybody else at a low level, he's not that much faster than everybody. You might get away with the Protectoring. There's a couple things you could do here. You might get away with Protectoring and straight up have it miss, as we see it happen with PixelTamer. And the first one's really all you need to worry about. You can attrition this afterwards. If that's the plan you want to go with, you might not want to have Sid in the middle, because it's going to make Wyvern pretty fast. But I think once you get past that first one, you're alright. Kaiser not wanting to deal with that is going to find Moon Boss number 2. And good job, PixelTamer, getting down that Wyvern. Let's see what we get here. It is a pan. Always a very nice item to find. Opens up 3 key item location, or key item check. Well, 2 key item checks. We have to get underground for the 3rd. But finding an early pan may also incentivize people to dive hook as soon as possible. We do have 2 possible ways of getting underground, and you have to get underground to forge crystal, which is a requirement of the seed. Magma Key, which you use an Agate, you just get instant access. It opens up a wall, because dropping a rock down a well usually opens up a chasm in the earth, right? That's the nice way. The not so nice way, and more or less the HOpen way, has been to find the hook. And at that point, you have to go through Cave Eblon and Upper Babul, which is relatively late in the actual vanilla game. And you're expected to be in, I mean, you get Vanilla Edge there. He starts at level 25. So that should kind of tell you how difficult that spot can be. You're going to have to do 6,000 damage to the first boss and 22,000 to the second one. That's a lot. So, hopefully we don't see that many. We don't see a hook. but it's HOpen, and you can't spell HOpen without what? Well, at least lately. Hey, Terasu, how you doing? Oh, don't sweat it, man. I'm happy to have the help. So far, we've had a Sid Rosa start with a Protect Ring, which seems awfully nice. And to make up for that, we've got Wyvern at Antlion Cave and Plague on Mount Hobbs. Yeah, what PixelTamer ended up doing was equipping the Protect Ring on Rosa had the Mega Nuke straight up miss. So that was a very, very fortunate occurrence, but I think, I don't know if it's something you want to count on, because you have to like reset and reload it like 4 or 5 times. Plague is just getting this team to deal 1500 damage relatively quickly. Alright, and no, my sound might not be right. Let me go ahead and add this. Alright, so we're going to see who is in Fabul. Yeah.
Oh, that's Moon Boss number 3.
Oh, we've got the trio of Moon Bosses. Now, normally Ogopogo at this spot is not too bad, especially with the starting Sid. It's only going to have 1500 HP. Physical attacks is going to be kind of annoying, but otherwise, you've got a Rosa, so you're going to be able to heal through it. So, actually seeing this here is pretty nice for our runners, even if it is, you know, the Nope Rope.
This is one of the better spots for Nope Rope. The only thing annoying is the fact that he's going to take off half your HP at the start.
Yeah, with a different team, this could have been a totally different story if we were littered with Porms, Edwards, and Rydias. But with a Rosa and a Sid start, especially Sid rocking that Rune Axe, we see PixelTamer no problem. Tinglenator should not have much of an issue.
It looks like CrimsonAvix gets through that Wyvern as well. Ogopogo really not being an issue.
Now that's not going to be a spot where the runners are going to want to skip because the Antlion Cave does give the pan. So that's a pretty good amount of key item checks. Let's hope that if any of the runners decide to skip it, they come back. Don't pull the couch strategy.
Oh, and Fabul was Darkness, so now you've got some interesting choices to make.
Wow, so that opens up the entire moon. I'm not going to see the runners do it just yet, but now it's going to kind of be in the back of their minds. Do I have an efficient way to take out a grind fight, be it a gold dragon? We have a rune axe, so sorcerers could be on the table. Finding Artemis arrows would be superb in that regard. But especially if we see a hook coming out. We haven't found underground access yet. It's either got to be Baronin, our good friend Derek, or Mount Ordeals. If we see a hook, might be worth checking that out. At least seeing the character. I wouldn't be surprised to see that happen.
No, wouldn't be a half bad idea. At least get the whale activated and maybe grab the character, check the shop, because that shop unlocks some other pretty nice items potentially.
That's right. There are a few items that are locked behind either the underground or the moon, such as Cure 3s and Bacchus Wines, and both of those are super important. And knowing where those are early on, even if you don't necessarily have the money for, raise your hand if you've gotten ready to go mode, and all of a sudden you don't have Bacchus, and you find out they're in Evelon afterwards. Ugh, it's annoying.
I mean, my last race, I forgot to buy life potions. It was in go mode.
Ooh.
So,
yeah, that's a kicker.
But the nice thing is even if you forget Bacchus, you still have Rosa, so you will eventually have that source of Berserk.
Yeah, we're not gonna necessarily come across this. It'd be nice to have for the Baron in spot. That's gonna be the first spot our runners. I mean, granted, Wyvern and Plague are challenging in their own right. That's the first spot that our runners are gonna run into that can really be nasty. 4,000 HP, a pretty decent physical attack that's gonna one-hit KO anybody not named Sid in this party. So getting those, not having to use that one turn, it doesn't sound like much, but sometimes saving that one turn, especially if it's the wrong boss, like something like Naga Sisters or something like that.
Very, very true. Interesting note, Tella was in the bed.
Yep, Tella being probably one of the best characters to have stocked and ready to go if you get a Sand Ruby. Might not want to get him right away, but he has so much utility either as a floor tanking anchor or as a way to moon grind. And since we found the Darkness Crystal, getting that Tella up online and being able to cast Weak on them there gold dragons would be really nice. PixelTamer is going to try to get himself a green-haired collar. Well, actually, it might not be, depending on the fat flag. Octomom is the first one. 400 HP. This should go down relatively fast. The second boss is what we're interested in.
That second boss could be something nasty, but Iridia isn't a bad pickup, just a slow starting character. Ooh, that's Evil Wall, though.
That is the most evil of walls. So Evil Wall, not only does this spot have a pretty big physical attack, but Evil Wall naturally just tends to cheat and take turns when you think he's not going to. So our party's going to, you can see, he's hitting Sid for 400 HP. Ouch. You gotta do 4,000 damage, and if he happens to get close enough to the screen, he's gonna start casting Crush. Now, if we get to that stage, because the spot is so slow, you might be able to just straight up attrition him, although you might not want to do that with a Sid Anchor. But this is definitely not the easiest spot. We do see cabins and coffins. I thought I saw. Oh yeah, Kaiser is gonna head to the moon, so we'll see who that character is.
Getting that moon character would possibly make this Evil Wall a little bit easier.
Now, PixelTamer having illusions helps. Usually illusions is all you need for this fight because it's so slow, but Evil Wall does not care about your rules of speed. He's going to just go fast wherever he is. So having those illusions here is going to be helpful, but it's not going to straight up win you the fight.
No, it's not going to win you the fight, but it'll certainly make it a lot more palatable.
You see, even back row with the Protect Ring, Rose has taken 200 damage a pop. Ouch.
And it looks like Crimson is also making his way to the moon.
I like getting the early characters. Anytime you get the ability to check an early character, especially via a key item, because if you get it via key item, you do not have the character barriers, so it can be Edge or Fu, and if you find an Edge or a Fu, that can absolutely break the run wide open. And well, it's not Edge or Fu.
It is Iridia, and Pixel gets the Earth Crystal behind that Evil Wall, so that's two more characters, though it is a bit of a slog of a check.
Yeah, it's, especially if they happen to check Ordeals first, and that has our underground access. Zot can be pretty expensive as far as time goes, but especially if you don't have something like Zerk. You're looking at a 9,000 damage boss fight just to start, and then you got a second one afterwards littered with cutscenes. Now those two characters could be super sweet, but it is kind of an expensive check. One bad side to kind of having Rydia here on the moon, and one of the sometimes I would like to save scum this, is if you get access to Darkness Crystal, and especially if we find a Sand Ruby, the ability to slingshot, especially via a D-Machine grind, if you watch the play-in match, you've seen how that can be super helpful, and having that Rydia just ready to go at level 1 at any point in time, might want to consider keeping that stock, considering we've already seen one Rydia, and the difference between 1 and 2 when they're only at like level 20, not that much.
No, this is very true, but getting, like you said, leaving her there and possibly getting that D machine grind if you run into a sand ruby, oh baby, that Rydia is going to be online so fast and be able to just hard carry the entire.
Now Kaiser's showing off some flag knowledge here, remembering that the Hobbs flag is on. Finds Sylph. Now, everything I just said about maybe wanting to keep that second Rydia down in there on the moon there, I might need to fix my face a little bit, because having 2 casts of Sylph ready to go in the early game, that's going to make the Earth Crystal way more make Tower of Zot way more palatable, because with some levels she's going to do at least about 1,000 a pop. It's going to take care of healing, so Rosa can worry about just shooting bows and arrows. So it's going to work out either way for our runners.
No, that Sylph is amazing for Rydia, especially in the early game. Once you have enough MP to cast it, as long as you have enough MP to cast it, it costs nothing. And 1,000 damage, especially at this early game where most of the bosses don't have, you know, like tens of thousands of HP. I think most have less than 10,000. Yeah.
Yeah, in the overworld for sure.
It's such a great. Oh yeah. Still not a Bahamut or Leviathan, but it's certainly a welcome addition for Rydia. And Pixel going to go for that Earth Crystal, heading up Zot, probably also going to loot. Yep, looting the treasury as well.
Not a bad call here with the Earth Crystal. That does open up the left side that PixelTamer is going in right here, which is a whole lot of chest. I want to say it's 24. I could be wrong about that, but it's a whole lot. And generally, after doing this, if you get enough decent armor spot, like especially you find like a bunch of samurai armor and stuff like that, that can take care of most of the money you need for the remainder of the seed. We do find Strength Ring and Dragon Whip are the 2 highlights here. Dragon Whip is going to be extremely useful for one of our Rydias as far as killing dragon enemies, which is basically every grind fight ever almost. And Strength Ring is just going to boost up the damage of whichever character that decides to want to win. And well, we don't have enough strength boosting equipment, so let's just get a Zeus Gauntlet on the right side. Sure, why not?
That Zeus Gauntlet's going to be absolutely amazing. You already have a Kane. Granted, he doesn't have the best of weapons, but still, Zeus Gauntlet's very nice for him. Sid can also equip that Zeus Gauntlet and really do some damage. And if Rydia becomes an adult, she could equip it along with that Dragon Whip and really make a Ryu fight very, very easy.
Yeah, it's gonna make both of the grind fights super easy, and also it makes one of the things I really like about the Dragon Whip is, if you're wanting to really set up a fast egg grind, you kind of want that character that's going to one-shot the eggs to go first. And it can be difficult to manipulate that, but Dragon Whip also gives Rydia a boost in speed, which doesn't hurt. So anytime you get a chance to just hold A and let the game play itself, I'd love to do that.
Oh yes, I love Dragon Whip Rydia, but I'm biased on that. CrimsonAvix also taking on this evil wall. It looks like he's having a little bit more trouble than Pixel did. And I saw Tingle took out that wall as well, has his own Rydia. And looks like he's also going to check out this Earth Crystal. I don't think anyone's done ordeals yet, though.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised at that. I know most people kind of like to skip ordeals whenever it's possible. And it's 3 bosses, it's a time sink. But just that we've seen Tella sitting in the bed. If there's a chance you can get him online, I know it's a little bit of a gamble, but especially since we haven't seen what our underground access is, it's back and forth. The two characters is such a sweet nectar that I would want all kinds of, especially if there's you always hope for Edges and Foos and Cecils and Palums up there. Sure seems to be a place where bards hang out lately, but those 2 characters can be too tempting to pass up.
Everyone knows all about bards, and bards have their uses, but Tella, not always the best pickup, but for an early game, he's always a welcome addition.
I could tell you personally, if I had a Rydia and I got a Tella up in Zot, I would immediately head to Ordeals and do a D machine grind and get that Iridia up to nuke, and then that just makes most of the seed that's not on the moon irrelevant. So, but I do love me a good D machine grind. That's just me.
D machine grind is just a lot of fun. And we also see Pixel and both Pixel and Kaiser, their Iridias are dead, so potential to slingshot them is still alive.
Yeah, it's an interesting trade-off. Do you keep her up and decide to get use out of Sylph, or do you keep her down and get used to Slingshot? Now, if you've gone to the moon and you've gotten Iridia number 2, and what's interesting is that they have both acquired their Iridias in different ways, as you can see by the different palettes on there. Knowing that there's a second Iridia up there might lead me to incline Sylph can be kind of useful, especially in a fight like Mom Bomb that can just be super long and dragged out. Mom Bomb, well, once you get that HP count, she's going to do what she's doing right now and about to explode. It also means you can't really power overwhelming her because you'd have to go 10k HP over whatever the natural HP limit is there, which in this case you'd have to do 19,000. 19,000 damage at this stage in the game, not going to happen. So it's kind of annoying to see.
No, not without a Fu. You're just not going to have the damage to get through Mom Bomb. And even then, Fu needs to get powered up first. But once Mom Bomb explodes, the fight's pretty easy. If you have hourglasses, just throw them. These are no longer any sort of threat.
Yep, yeah, one good hourglass, even a J item, something like a Boreas will, unless you start to get like underground level HP level, that'll be enough. But hourglass especially, that'll get the job done. We see Tinglenator is deciding to also head up into the Tower of Zot. Avix did pick up an Earth Hammer, so that's going to be between an Earth Hammer and a Rune Axe. We've seen both of Sid's primo weapons, but King can rock that Rune Axe too. So if we see something like Asura at a high HP spot, it's going to very much come in handy. And especially since we don't know if we're going to get a Magma Key or a Hook from here, we could still be a good 5 to 15 minutes out and finding out whether or not we're actually getting the 80% chance of Hook that HOpen seeds seem to give us. Finding both of those is nice.
Right now, it's either got to be this Earth Crystal or that Ordeals. Unless, of course, there's a hidden D-Mist.
But there have been some interesting D-Mist locations in some of the races. We've seen D-Mist at Package. We can get maybe the legendary D-Mist at CPU. Please, one day.
We'll start bribing Scala with some extra cookies. Maybe she'll eventually roll it.
Alright, so PixelTamer got it. Go ahead.
I was going to say, but not for these poor HOpen players. Most of them, great. There's a lot of great runners in HOpen. I want to see the legendary CPU at the Highway to the Seema Zone for the final.
I couldn't even be mad. If that happened, I couldn't be mad. So, okay, we've got some interesting information here. First of all, there's Artella. We have access to, if you want to do Ordeals and you want to do a D-Machine grind or even just a Gold Dragon grind, both of those are on the table. We also find out that the second boss in Dwarf Castle is either the Water Hag, yay, or the Gauntlet, boo. And what rhymes with boo? Foo. That's who we found as the second character. This seed just got a lot more wide open.
I mean, yeah, we were talking about, yes, Tella, but let's upgrade him and go ahead and take an old man that's even better. And now Ordeals is way more palatable. You want those 3 bosses, power up that Fu, and now Zot even becomes more valuable because that's 2 more bosses for this Fu to get, Weak, Nuke, Quake.
Yeah, especially if you find a Hook.
Cure 4.
Alright, so Tinglenator is going to go ahead and find that Fu. Be super excited. Kaiser is deciding to make the Ordeals play first. This is a totally logical play. If he just finds like a Magma Key here, this may give him a little bit of a lead, but that lead may come maybe whittled down by the virtue of Fu is really, really good. Karate Man as the second boss fight, not too much of a problem here. And looking at Fu's spell set, we have Fire 2, which is not terribly great, but he's sitting at 1100 already. Ordeals you may not even need to do if you can get to 1300 from the two, the Demus and the Octomom spot. Might even want to, if they decide to risk not doing Ordeals at all, you can get, I think at this point, we can get Fu there regardless through other means.
It'll kind of depend on what this Earth Crystal gets you if you really want to do Ordeals. Fu is already pretty close to those in-game spells at 1100. He only needs 8 more bosses, which you'll get just naturally throughout the game. This one's going to give you 1 of them, so only 7 more after this. So it'll kind of be based on what you get for his spells after this, plus the key item.
Yeah, I completely agree. We'll see, and it could just be the Earth Crystal has a glass helmet or ninja shirt or drain spear, in which case we got to do Ordeals anyway, and the whole thing's moved. Oh, there's Nuke.
That was Nuke.
It's not just the key plot point in RoboCop 2, it's a really good spell. It's gonna just obliterate everything in our path. If we do find a hook, that is going to be huge to find the Nuke spell here.
Oh, Nuke, especially if you can get it a little bit earlier on food, that's just going to shred through everything. No hook seed, though. We got a magma key.
You know what? The HOpen Racers have earned a magma key seed at this point in time. Keinazo as the first Ordeals boss is a very nice boss to find here. Physical attack damage is more or less a soft tickle on the... and wave will do some damage, but with Sid here, he's just going to laugh at this kiddie pool wave that he's going to throw at you, so nice find here.
No, I love seeing Keinazo on Ordeals. At this point, he's just not a threat. It's better than seeing him, at Evil Wall. Or even better, and, what is it? Element Spot. That is a lovely spot for Keinazo.
Wow, get ready for you World Series fans. We're probably going to have giant
my
seed.
Absolute favorite. Ruby Spot.
Yeah, that's always a banger. Fortunately, we're probably not going to have to worry about that unless we happen to see Derek hiding out there.
And Pixel wasting no time dropping that magma key and heading straight underground. I like this. Right now, the rest of your party's a little underleveled. The underground's going to have some free checks, and you have that pan, so that's 4 really quick and easy checks, 1 from the Feymarch chest and 3 from that pan.
Yeah, I would completely agree. I would expect to see both PixelTamer and Tinglenator make a beeline directly to Sylph Cave. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. Get your 3 key, hopefully key items, and then see what your options are after that.
This is very, very true. And Pixel straight over to that Sylph Cave. Our back attack is the Baron Guards. I don't like seeing the Baron Guards in this back attack spot just because I'd rather see them someplace much more difficult, like at the Wyvern spot or Ogopogo, because they're annoying, but they're free.
Yep. Yeah, it's kind of like this spot you want to be not too free, but not too difficult. Like, you don't want to see Val here, or you don't want to see the Gauntlet here, which is just awful. Yeah, you don't want to see Plague there, or Odin. Hi, I get a free turn, check out my sword. But you also don't want to see a free fight here, because you'd rather see those on the moon. Now with the Rune Axe, you can see Sid is just aching to pick a fight with them. 3,000 damage, oof, no problem here. Now if this happens to be required, and our other runners that are not doing Ordeals do Earth Crystal first, find that magma key, like, I got Nuke, I got everything I need, I don't need to do Ordeals, that could be an issue. He may not want to come back to Ordeals afterwards.
We did see Sylphs giving out a legendary sword in the Excalibur. Not quite the legendary sword we want, but still nice if you can ever find the Sir not appearing in these seeds.
Oh, ordeals just turned into what could possibly be a bigger time sink in the Baron Key. And guess who's guarding the Baron Key? The former King of Baron, Odin. This is actually a superb spot to find Odin. He does have the capability of making your life miserable in one of the more difficult spots. But at 1000 HP, he's just wielding a nerf joust tool. And not going to hurt at all. But Baron Key being there, that's probably where Kaiser's going to go next. And if it doesn't pan out, that's about a 15-minute sink that doesn't pay off. That's a tough one, especially with that darkness crystal hanging over your head, knowing that you could go there at any point in time, and it could be full of delights, it could be a bait.
Moon is always that temptation. We did get a job dwarf check. It was a Set Illustrator. And now we have Pixel and Tingle both. That's a weird combo to say. Pixel and Tingle are both now diving down into that Feymarch. You're going to get one free check, and then there's 2 bosses with potential key items. And these bosses, sometimes they can be really kind, but as some people have discovered, Water Hag at Leviathan is not free.
Oh, no. Yeah, especially if they turn into Skynet and they become self-aware and they only target characters that have items queued. That's always a fun time. But finding this spot, it's with Fu and you got Nuke, the possibility is there to get it. The question is not so much whether or not they can do it, it's whether or not you want to spend the time trying to get 20, 30k HP down when there may be other checks like Dwarf Castle, or in these 2 runners' cases, Ordeals, which are simpler and quicker. Ooh, yeah, Bacchus is good to find.
Well, hopefully we'll get to see what these bosses are. I only made mention of Water Hag because people are always saying it's free, and I saw a seed the other night. Water Hag was at Leviathan, and they learned very, very quickly that the Leviathan spot is very painful, even for a free ball.
Yeah, like Dark Imps too. That's another one.
But no, I'm personally a fan of taking a look at these bosses, see if you can take them on, especially your first trip down here, because Feymarch, while not the longest checks, it does take a bit of time, and then you have to heal up before you take on anything because of those really annoying tiles.
Yep. It's a tough decision to make, and it almost cost somebody their playing match a couple days ago. But speaking of which, good call.
I swear I'm not a witch. I'm not invulnerable.
So not only are we going to see is this doable, we're also going to know what's at Dwarf Castle.
I quit.
All right, you win. You've got first place. You just got 4 more points in Open. Congrats. And Water Hag is angry. And you can't really hourglass. I think if you hourglass him, that prevents him from going ARG on the 3rd hit. Am I right about that?
You can't hourglass him. He does have the boss bit enabled.
That's right. Yeah, so
you just gotta survive and get those 3 hits in. For this spot, it's better. Screw it. Let's take a time, throw an illusion. If you have a Moonveil, even better. And Water Hag at Leviathan is not free. Pixel does get through it, though.
Nice. And Tinglenator got the 1 hit with 4 characters up, so that's going to be a good start.
For just a Stardust Rod, not progression, but you do have that Fu, Stardust Rod on Fu with Nuke. Oh, baby, yes, please.
Yeah, I think considering the time spent, which was not that much, and you managed to get it done on the first try, finding a Stardust Rod here is pretty good. And the nice thing is that good old Pain Man, while it can be kind of difficult here, with Fu having 1900 HP, if you can just get 1 cure on him, that's probably all you're going to need to survive it. PixelTamer is going to peace out, though.
I kind of agree with that. Pain Man right there, it's even with the Fu, and that's not a fully powered Fu, is very, very dicey. Asura Spot does have pretty high attack power.
Yeah, that's a good point. Let's see. Oh, and with Sid as the possible anchor, you might be able to get one of your characters at RA1, but at this level it's probably not going to happen, so at the very least, you're probably going to need to lower the battle speed. I'd probably give it a shot and see how it goes, but at least finding the water hag here, you got it here, you got 2 out of the 3 spots. That's nice to go about. Kaiser is going to follow up with the Baron key. Let's see what this gives.
See, what I would do for that pain, man, I would probably move your Rydia into that middle slot and then just hope you can get a turn with either Rosa or Fu and just try to keep Fu healed up. Or maybe, you know, check Dwarf Castle. There might be those Cure 3s in there, and if you can get a Cure 3, that'll probably get you through it. There's the tower key, so no keyless tower. And Legend, so Sheila has some pretty nice goods today.
Yeah, not only is that nice, but that's coming from the pan that we started with. So all of our runners, they have the knowledge that everybody's probably going to get the Legend Sword earlier than later. So we'll see. Now, he does have an elixir. That might be enough. If Fu gets a Cure 3, he's got it. He's got it.
Tingle's going to have this. That Cure 3 should go off.
Oh, it didn't go off. No! I thought he had it. It was a bummer.
Oh, that feels bad as it looks so good. And Pixel immediately going to turn in that tower key, heading straight up tower.
I like it. Great play. You just got the tower key. You got the 2 spots there. You got a Fu. So I'm not going to have too much of a worry as far as the HP count. I completely agree with this move.
All right, our first boss in Baron is Asura, and Crimson's doing something interesting. He is fighting the trap chest in the Fey March, probably looking to get a little bit of extra experience, and these trap chests have the potential to carry some pretty solid gear, so I don't hate it, but it does take a little bit of time, even with this food.
Yeah, it's one of those spots you'd want to do if you had a decent AoE. If you had Titan or you had Quake, then it's a quick, 30-40k. You might, like you mentioned, get something like a Dragoon Spear. That'd be pretty awesome. Without it, it's going to be a little bit of a bummer, but it's also going to open up a lot of looting. You know where this spot is, so now you can open up all the rest of the Fey March chests. That's just 7 or 8 extra chests that the other runners aren't going to have, and if we happen to get a curse ring there, that'd be sweet.
Maybe? No. Still not able to get through that Dark Knight.
Yeah, I think like you mentioned before, the speed of the spot is what's getting him. Cure 3 does have a cast time, whereas Cure 1 and Cure 4 have a cast time of 0. So sometimes in a fast spot, trying to get that Cure 3 spell as opposed to a Cure 3 item, not quite gonna do it. So it's a little bit of a bummer, but even with those 3 checks, because it was right there, not gonna spend that much time on it, and then he's gonna find out, man, it would have been nice to have Cure 3 items. Oh, look.
We have something interesting at top of tower, Elements. That's actually one of my favorite spots for Elements because based on level, this spot has a lot of HP, and if you set up some reflect strats, or even just, a single fire 3 to the face, shouldn't have any trouble with this fight.
Yeah, and the big trap with this fight isn't so much the Milan spot. When Kenazo shows up, he's not going to care about counters like before. He's going to go Fire 2, Fire 3, and Glare. And if this happens to be at a spot like Ogopogo, that Fire 3 is full of pain and sorrow. It's going to wipe your team and put you on a timer. So you're right, finding it here is amazing.
Pixel's in go mode.
Pixel has go mode. We have Rock and Sword. The moon is just a bait. I would have finished the seed in 3 hours. Oh my goodness.
Oh man. I would have taken that moon bait. I love the early moon, but that's incredible. At sub 1 hour go mode in HOpen is kind of unheard of, so go Pixel, go.
Sorry. So with that going in there, that means that we have a Rosa. Rosa one of the reasons why I think she's considered to be one of the best characters in the game is that she has a good enough HP that if you get her to around level 50 or so, as long as you got one other fighter in the party, you could beat Zeramus. It might take a little while, but you got Bokkai, you got Cure 4s, you got a Rosa, and you got a Dream. You can get it done. So PixelTamer doesn't have to worry about what a lot of us in these HOpen and League seeds have been like, I'm going to rely on Torum for my healing. How could that possibly work out against me? Not gonna have to worry about that. Yeah, Edward, right? So, got a good team to go against Zeramus. I wouldn't even necessarily worry about getting Rydia to nuke. Just, have we found Sirens yet?
We have seen Sirens, I believe. I like what Pixel's doing here. Fu is still not fully powered, so taking on this easy boss, it's not a bad idea. Let's go ahead and get this Fu fully powered up and have that 1900 HP. Do some grinding. You don't need to do a whole lot. Get Kane to around 2500-ish HP. Throw that rune axe on him. Get Rosa up there with some levels. Have Cure 4 and Fu with that nuke. Zeramus shouldn't be too much trouble. Even if you don't have T and key items, you could still do a Rio grind because we haven't seen Pass yet, so you're going to the moon anyways.
Yeah, and one of the good points you brought up is that one of the things Tinglenator has basically done pretty much the same checks that PixelTamer has done, and did not have Cure 4 in that fight. So you want to get Fu at least to the level of learning Cure 4. Don't know how close they are to 10 key items. I wouldn't worry too much about that. I definitely wouldn't do something like Dwarf Castle.
No, what I would do here is go do the D-Miss spot, go do the Waterfall Cave, try to get that Cure 4 on Fu, get him a little bit closer. Ooh, that's a key item still. And then just get your way to that Zeramus fight. You're almost there. And like I said, you're going to the moon anyways. You have Darkness Crystal, you don't have Pass. Do the Ryu grind. You have Fu. You have a Dragon Whip Kidia, and you're not going to have any trouble with those Ryus.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that is the way to go about this. He's going to go Forge right now. If I can just get him to telepathically pull up the track screen, see how many key items he had. Because he's got to be close to it. Let's see. Actually, I might be able to count here. But, yeah, I think you're going to see him Forge, head to the moon, sell anything you don't need right now. We've seen Bokkai, we know where those are. If you need Cure 3s, you shouldn't need that many, just a couple, and they're close by. Get yourself some Sirens, get to the moon, and get to Z.
I just pulled up Pixel's stream, and it looks like they are at 10 key items, so that Ryu grind is going to be really, really easy and fast.
Nice. And it also means checking out that second spot, like getting that Twin Harp, was actually going to save them a ton of time. Because now they're going to give you 180k instead of 90k. Is the Pixel? Oh, and he might be going to just do some shopping. I was like, does he think he has the pass already?
No, just looking at some shopping. Makes sense. Yeah, looks like he's trying to grab some Hourglass 2s. Definitely want those for that Ryu grind, and I can almost guarantee you that's what they're doing. And it looks like Tinglenator has their Adamant now in go mode as well. And I believe Tingle has done almost the exact same pathing as Pixel, but didn't do the second fight in the tower, so going to only have 9 key items when they forge this crystal.
Yeah, and this is going to be a good point to look back and see what that 10th key item can do for you.
CrimsonAvix now turning in their pan, which is required, pretty nicely required with that Legend Sword. And then Tower having the Adamant and that Tower key from Sheila, that really, really pays off. Sheila really showing you the way today.
Yeah, not only did the decision to not do the moon pay off, but the decision to not do Ordeals, which led to Baron Key, probably put Kaiser a good 10 to 15 minutes behind. even though like it's a totally sensible play, how often do you see, especially in a HOpen seed, go mode in 40 minutes? I haven't seen it happen yet. So it's a sensible play, but sometimes it just gets you.
Sometimes it does get you. And we see Silkwebs in that Hummingway shop. That's going to be really nice for the Zeromus fight. Another nice thing, Pixel hasn't picked up this Rydia. He could take that Rydia and just kill her off. As much as it pains me to kill my favorite character, kill her off. That's your agility anchor. Level 1 Rydia. Oh yes, please do.
Yeah, you know what? That opens up a couple different strategies, because at that point you may also have 4 mages in your party. Reflect strats may actually be the faster Z fight. You got 3 nuke casters and a white caster. You found Cure 3s. Sid or Kane can be a capable chemist because they have the item command. So that's a good point. It can also open up reflect strats if he chooses to do it. With this party, either one works.
What I would do here would be keep both Rydias, leave one of them dead. I mean, yeah, you could slingshot her and get her to nuke pretty easily, but it would be smarter. Leave that Rydia dead, have the other one learn nuke, you get white on Rosa, and you shouldn't have too much trouble to have with the Z fight. Get rid of Sid and have Kane as your chemist. Or you could keep Sid and have him as an agility anchor.
Yeah, if you want to go the agility anchor route, even just having Kane and Sid Zerked being at RA1, they're going to get a bunch of attacks before Z even gets to make a mean face at you. So there's benefits both ways. This is going to drop the Kane, leads us to believe Zerk is off the table and Sid is going to get his chemistry on.
And Tinglenator right behind, once again, didn't have that Rydia, but chooses to get rid of her. I don't really like that. Of course, flip side of that coin is Tingle only has the 9 key items. So grinding is going to be a little bit slower. So you probably want to go more with that Zerker strat, since Sid and Kane are going to have a lot more HP and be able to get to those levels a little bit faster than, Rydia and Rosa will.
Yeah, you can go in, especially if you get decent equipment on Rosa, you can go in around level 45 to 47. And as long as you don't hit the Big Bang Lotto in the wrong way, you'll be okay. So with the 9 key items, you're right, that makes sense. That's probably Tinglenator's approach here.
Ooh, we have the Fabul Gauntlet in... We completely forgot that the second blue robe was in Dwarf Castle, so Fabul Gauntlet in Dwarf Castle. Ooh, that's a lot of time that Crimson's gonna have to do.
Yeah, it's easy to say in hindsight. That's a bummer. Not a movie you make, but I know there's a lot of runners that as soon as you know where that gauntlet is, and it's also one of those things like, maybe everybody else is going to reset out of the gauntlet. Nobody else is not done. If this happens to have it and somebody else noped out, I've just gained a huge lead. So I see the play, but it's unfortunate.
I agree with the thought. I agree with his thought process, because it's only 50 minutes in. People are going to want to reset out of this. You've got Darkness Crystal. You got so many other checks you can make, but it's just really unfortunate for him. There's nothing he can do. He's going to sit through it. My hope is for him is that he finds a Cecil here.
That is a very good point. That we've got the holy sword that Cecil wants. Maybe not the crystal sword, but that X-Cal opens up a very lethal Berserk strat if that's the direction Avix wants to take it. Look at that Dragon Whip putting in work. 1700 damage. That's one of the super useful things about that Dragon Whip. You throw a Zerk on Rydia, she don't care about back row. If you're a dragon and she's got that whip, look out. And Fu must not have weak.
No, their Foos aren't fully powered. He's going to be going in with these kind of lower HP pools. So Fu is going to be maybe throw off 1, 2... Well, you could probably get off his entire MP pool of nukes really fast if you can get into that fight quickly enough. But we'll see the difference in the experience here between Tinglenator and Pixel. And I think Pixel's going to have this simply because that 10 key items.
Yeah, I just saw Rydia get 41 levels. He's already at level 42 now. Let me ask you this. You found an early go mode. You may not necessarily think that you're in the lead, but you're in a good spot. Do you check the D-Lunar and the Plague spot, especially if you're sitting at 9, but even if you're setting at 10, do you check the D-Lunar spot for maybe a free 200k experience?
I would probably peek that D-Lunar spot. If I haven't done it, I have 10 key items. I've got a level 1 ready. Yeah, I would do that because that's going to be more experience than the King Ryu's, which at 10 key items is 180? Yeah, yep. 180 compared to 200. That's a better slingshot. And Pixel is doing some bosses, it looks like. Interesting.
My of course it's demissed. I would reset. I'm not gonna lie.
I wouldn't bother with this demist. Demist is gonna take too much time, even though this is one of the lowest HP spots on the moon. It's still demist. Demist is annoying.
It could be after seeing around 1 to 2k damage on Rydia, thinking, if I get a fast boss fight and Fu learns weak, maybe it makes it a little faster. I
don't know. I would at this point, since you've already done a Ryu grind, I would just immediately just continue doing the Ryu grind. You have a Dragon Rip Rydia. She is going to tear through these Ryus, especially if you switch it to the one that has, the more levels. Oh yeah, the Ryu grind's going to be faster. I wouldn't really bother powering up this Fu, especially since he's already got Nuke. You get Rosa up to Cure 4, there's your healer.
Yep. Agreed. Now, what would be interesting is, after seeing like a whole bunch of grinding, if the D-Lunar spot ended up being something like the Baron Guards with a Fu in the party and possibly Life 2, that could have made our grind way easier and faster.
Certainly is the case.
Well, this will give Tinglenator a little bit of a chance to catch up here.
It certainly will. I like the thought process from Pixel. I just don't like the fact that he's going after this Demist. Demist is not a fun fight on the moon. It just takes too much time.
Yeah, you can't even use Zerk, because then you're going to eat like 10 to 15 cold mists. It's like, she won't take that long unless you decide to berserk and attack her, and then she just stays mist forever. This is also going to give Avix and Kaiser a little bit of a chance as well. Avix is on the moon. Has Avix done tower already?
I don't think I've seen Avix do tower. Maybe his fuse got weak. He's looking for a character to slingshot on a D-Machine grind, which isn't a bad play. It's just not the right one for this seed.
Yeah, Avix is making the play. I totally would have done the same thing. You've got a Fu, you got a Rosa, you got a good Zerker, and the moon's open. I totally understand this. Unfortunately, it's not quite there. Now, you see what boss Tinglenator's found.
King Queen Eblin.
That is completely free. Not even going to bother taking the time to get the HP down. Just let him tell you he's going to send you to the Hades.
I just pulled up Avix's stream just to take a look at his tracker to make sure he didn't do tower. He has not done tower. He is diving the moon.
It's a play I understand. Unfortunately, it's not the correct one. It's going to give Kaiser a little chance to catch up and can sneak into third place here.
Oh, man. I feel so bad for him, but, at least he's going to have the levels. Kaiser's doing some egg farming, so we have some omelets on one screen. a demist on the other, and freedom on Tingle.
Yeah, it's kind of a tough one. You know, that a lot of these runs can be decided whether or not you're deciding to make when and where you decide to make the moon play. And we found it early. That's problematic enough. But then finding an overpowered character like Fu, it's like, well, geez, I mean, I can do this right now. And he's going to head to the D Lunar spot and he's going to find those free fights and be like, well, this is paying off.
I will say this, Tingle did get the 10 key items now, so he's going to have a much nicer time doing this Ryu fight. I still think Pixel's going to take it, possibly. It's going to be really a nail-biter between Tingle and Pixel for this first place fight.
Yeah, it's like, and that's a good point that sitting at 9 key items, if that was something free, that puts him at 10. All of a sudden, that lead that PixelTamer had, going to be a little worried about. And PixelTamer is going to see this, and yeah, is going to be thrilled to get 200k free XP. That's awesome, but doesn't know that just gave Tingle key item number 10, and now we got a race.
We certainly do have a race. I don't know. I still don't fully agree with Pixel taking a look at the bosses here. Yeah, your Fu's not fully powered, but you have 2 Rydias and a Rosa. You don't need to fully power the Fu anymore. I would have just Ryu grinded.
Yeah, it's a tough choice. It's a tough choice.
2020.
And sometimes the most stressful seeds with this particular flag set isn't necessarily when you come across something difficult. It's when you come across everything that is easy and you get go mode super quickly, and now it's like, what do I do? I'm used to having 4 Edwards and a Tella going to hook. Now all of a sudden I can beat the game. What's the optimal play here? It's early go mode seeds can be super stressful, and it makes these decisions tough to make.
I agree with you 100%. I do not like jet seeds because it's like, oh god, this was really easy. A bunch of runners probably figured this out too really fast. I would be sweating bullets.
Now, we did see that PixelTamer's Fu did learn weak. That's not going to save a ton of time, but it's going to save a little bit of time. It's going to get those Ryu fights a little faster. Now, instead of having to Berserk Rydia and wait for her to do the damage, and cast weak, sweet, one more hit, and then they're down.
It looks like Pixel's heading down to the Z fight.
Okay, that might have been enough XP to put him over the edge there. Unless he's doing the Ogo spot. I wonder if that's the plan.
Ooh. I really hope Pixel's not doing that Ogo spot. It's not worth the time, and that's exactly where he's headed. It's a free fight, and this is one where you can life glitch. You can really, really get ahead here.
You can gain a whole lot of levels here. So the plan to pull this one off is you want to open with an hourglass. So that'll freeze everybody. You cast hopefully a coffin with the character that is right before Fu. Fu then casts life 2, and that'll bring back the officer. Now the officer will be unstopped. He'll say charge, 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 but the soldiers are still stopped. So they're going to ignore him completely. So you can, and that's where all the XP is funneled. It's into the officer. So you life to him, coffin him. You repeat that a few times. Might need to throw an ether 2 in there, but you can get yourself like 300,000-400,000 experience at a spot like this with 10 key items.
And that would have been a great grind right there. Like you said, stop everything, coffin, life to that officer. Oh, yes, please. I wish I could get seeds where that would be the case. But anytime I get this fight at Ogopogo, I have, 2 Edwards, a Rosa, and
Right.
yeah, 2 Edwards, a Rosa, and things that, and I don't have the experience for life too, so it's just like coffin life.
Yep, you ain't wrong. And if you look at Rosa's HP right now, she's sitting at 1826. Tinglenator's sitting at 1907. So they're both pretty close, but they're also right about at the level where you're ready to go into Z. So, like, if either of them are feeling the pressure, at this point, they can go. If they just want to go pure Zerk and not worry so much about getting nukes off, you can go right now. We see the package as the reward. Probably not going to check that, but key items are nice.
I mean, this moon doesn't have any progression, but it's chock full of key items.
Key items, free fights, mist dragons, you name it.
This would be a beautiful moon if it was required. What? Pixel just exited out.
Huh. Is he gonna check the Ogo or the Pale spot?
To me, this feels like it's just you're wasting time. Again, you don't need to get a fully powered Fu for the Z fight. Not with 2 Rydias and a Rosa. And Kaiser getting rid of the Rydia and taking a Yang, so Zerker strats are going to be online for him.
Oh, totally. I where he's at, I think this is absolutely the right choice. And sadly, this might also lead you to get that Yang out of your part, or get that Yang on the floor, and then head immediately to a Gold Dragon fight and bring them online in the best way possible.
I mean, if I saw Yang here, I've got Fu with Weak. I would probably just go ahead and do a D machine simply because I could slingshot that Yang to, like level 60. And then it doesn't matter what the rest of my party is. Yang is broken at that point.
Yep. And that'll work. So, looks like PixelTamer is going to head toward the Ogo spot. Tinglenator wrapping up. Should be pretty close now. Rosa's at 2144. Rydia's at 1391. So that probably puts her around like level 46. I might go right now.
I think either this or the next Ryu fight's gonna put that Rydia at nuke, and you're gonna be perfectly fine for this Z fight.
Yeah. Rosa's gonna have plenty of HP. Yep, there's White. Didn't quite learn nuke though. Let's see. It's one more. So yeah, he's gonna do one more.
No, it makes sense. With this party and your current gear setup, it's better to go ahead and get nuke on Rydia, because even with Kane and Arunax, that's still a really slow Z fight. We have Dark Elf at this Pale Dim spot, though.
Not free,
a bad spot,
but not bad. Yeah, you're right. Not bad. You don't have to worry about the physical attack here, so that's super nice. It's gonna be a little annoying with casting weak, and it's gonna be kind of fast. So if you don't get that character, at least like a Cure 2, it might cycle around to the element spells again and then wipe out a party member. But the really nice part about this is when he goes me change, you throw an hourglass on him, he loses the boss bit along with his clothing, and then now you can just throw weak on him, an hourglass on him, you can, pretty much whatever you want, and it makes the fight easy.
Very, very true. I love running into Dark Elf, except for Hook Route, because I never seem to have enough hourglasses for him.
That's true.
Dark Elf, once you get past that first phase, it turns into a very easy and basically a free fight.
Alright, so it's going to set up... Oh, okay, so it might not have an hourglass handy, but does make him a dragon, and Rydia and that dragon whip plus Berserk is going to feast on this Dark Elf.
Just a bit. I mean, again, Dark Dragon is not... The Dark yeah, Dark Dragon, I'm gonna go with that, is not as scary.
All right, so now let's see. Iridia says 1687. So I think Tinglenator is just playing it a little safe here, making sure you don't want nothing to go wrong. Haven't seen a dot done yet. You got your go mode pretty early, so I respect keeping it safe here. Get Rosa up to like 2700 HP. She ain't dying in no big bang. So yeah, I think we're gonna see Tinglenator right after this probably make their way to Z.
I respect this. Again, you're still kind of hurting a little bit for gear. That's another problem with Jet Seas is you typically don't find enough gear to really kit out your party. So the extra levels are going to make a pretty big difference in the Z fight. All right.
Now, one nice
Kaiser
thing
finishes up.
Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say Kaiser finished up his gauntlet, so now he's finished with that Dwarf Castle, and Crimson now fighting that D-Mist. Unfortunately for both of them, need to get to that tower.
Yeah, well, one nice thing about finding possibly D-Mist here is it may entice Avix to head back, especially if we happen to see a dot done from Tinglenator in the next like 5-6 minutes or so. Might encourage, hey, you know what? Maybe it's not up here. Let's head back.
No, usually when you see a jet seed like this, I don't know, because we have access to so much, you can't really metagame that because they could have gone straight to the moon. They could have stayed on Earth. You have to just kind of continue what you're doing, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's definitely a tough one to metagame because you could just as easily say, hey, there were a whole bunch of free bosses up here on the moon. Someone could have gone moon early, and they would have gotten a truckload of experience to start. It's a tough one.
It really is, and I've seen a lot of your races. I know you're like me. I like that early moon.
Yeah, getting that darkness crystal so early, and especially finding a Fu, I agree with going moon. It's just one of those things, that's how the moon play works out sometimes. Sometimes the moon loves you, sometimes it not so much.
And sometimes the moon is full with Golbez, Wyvern, Odin, and Ogopogo, and has absolutely nothing, and you spend an hour there and just feel terrible.
Yee ha ha ha, I'm gonna summon Shadow and demolish your time. That's how it feels.
But I think it looks like Tingle is going to be making their way to the Z fight. Gonna be in it first. Ooh, this is gonna be a tight race.
Yeah, this is gonna be close. Like, PixelTamer has done everything on the moon except Bahamut now. And we see going back to the Gold Dragon fight. Rosa's sitting at about 21-31. So if PixelTamer's okay with getting a slightly less higher level than maybe Tinglenator's at, might see them in the Fu fight, in the Zeramus fight at the same time.
The one nice thing that Pixel has going for them is they have that second Rydia. Rydia's should be pretty close to that nuke, and will have more DPS than Tingle. It's just, I think going for those bosses hurt more than help.
Yeah, the D-Lunar one, I agree with. The Ogo one was a little dicey, but it could have worked out to a life too, so I get that. The D-Mist one I probably would have reset out of. But it's a tough, like we mentioned before, it's not often, especially given with how some of these HOpen seeds have been, that you're in a position to beat the game 40 minutes in. And it's a good learning experience to kind of put yourself in that situation and see what happens. Now, we do have a rather important question that we're going to have to ask. What might that be?
Whose posterior are we going to shove our foot into?
Yep. One of the amazing things about Free Enterprise is that Skull Kitty has created well over 360 sprites, more than one for every day of the year. So when Zeramus changes his into his true colors, you never know what exactly those colors may be. It may be Zeramus with a whole bunch of eyes. It may be region locked. It could be RNG. It could be Final Fantasy IV. You never know what you're gonna get. And let's see what it is.
404. This sprite does not exist.
Oh, that was such a good one. I'd never seen that one before. That was so solid.
I think Pixel's done with their grind. If they get straight into the Z fight, they can make up the time. This is going to be really, really close between Tingle and Pixel.
Yep.
And I do mean, like, we're looking at about a minute difference between them.
And let's see, this Iridia was it 16? Looks like top Iridia was at 1632. So that would be at least level 50. You're looking at 2 nukes online. I wonder if PixelTamer is going to go straight reflect here.
With this party, you got to go straight reflect. One thing I want to point out: you don't need to heal before the Z fight. Just save, go straight there. You get a full HP and MP.
As we close to see whose butt is it going to be?
Nice.
He's going to attempt to knock your whole party down. It is Garland. Shout out to FF4FE.
Probably going to fail. If only he would have a second form, that would, still be useless.
Or he just casts Cure for on himself. Like, surprise, I got my Final Fantasy 1 ability. I'm back to max. How do you feel about that?
But Tingle does have some pretty solid levels. The only concern is, again, that slight lack of gear, but does get the nuke onto Rosa, and that's probably one of the better ones you would want it on, simply because she's got good HP and pretty solid magic defense.
Yeah, I think at this point, the only concerns you have going into like a possible Z-tastrophe here would be is if you went to go power overwhelming and totally said, I'm not going to heal, I'm just going to burn him down as fast as you can. But I don't think you try something like that. The other thing, if you were going reflect and you were just doing some kind of hybrid strat, which looks like we're going to see something similar to that, would be the good old combo platter of Big Bang and immediate Meteo, which has terminated many a run. But other than that, I think we're pretty good here.
I think at this point, with this party setup, you're going to want to play it a little safe. Try to get as much damage as you can, but when you see that shake after the first Big Bang, you probably want to throw a Cure 4 on your party. Pixel doing some last-minute adjusting of the spells. Get that nuke ready to be cast.
That darkness crystal so early. Yeah, if you get fast enough at practicing, like just setting those spells up and knowing where the spots are, it really helps the execution on something like a full reflect strat. Definitely recommend taking a couple minutes to learn where those spells are.
Just remember to look at Fu's spell list before you go to the moon, kids. That's my only advice.
I think we lost the stream for a minute. Can you repeat what you had just said?
Oh, make sure that you look at Fu's spell list before you go to the moon, kids.
Very much the case. GG, very well played. I'm looking forward to your next stream.
Thank you. I'm looking forward to how it'll turn out as well.
And that was Tinglenator. Sorry about the stream. Sometimes it just happens.
Yeah, good old internet in the mountains. One of those things. But so yeah, it looked like PixelTamer took, unfortunately, a rather meaty Big Bang that ended up more or less wiping out the party. So I was going to go back and get some more levels after seeing the first dot done. It can be a little nerve-wracking, but it might give Kaiser a little bit of a chance. I didn't see if Kaiser had actually forged yet, or is just straight up making the moon shack, which, like, given the seed, I understand. But if you've seen a dot done at 114, you know what? Like we mentioned before, metagaming that kind of finish with what we've seen so far is super difficult. And when you see the first two free moon bots, you're like, oh, of course, this is where it was at, and then it could just throw you off.
Oh man. Unfortunately, I was trying to pull up his stream to see if he did towers. I didn't see if he did or didn't. It doesn't have a tracker, so I'm not sure if he's done the tower. So might be, yeah, it looks like he's clearing the moon. Oh.
Well, I thought I saw Avix was heading to the tower. Or no, he's going to take on Painman first. Usually after you've done the moon, you want to try to leverage those levels. If you don't have any chains to go with, leverage them as best you can. And one of the spots you can do that is by taking on the Fame Arch bosses. Now, Painman here is not going to have any problem whatsoever. In fact, there's going to be characters that are going to survive outright. One nice little thing that Avix is doing is to avoid having to take the time to use a cabin, because you know Painman is going to hear, so you have to do some healing, is instead casting Float on the way to avoid taking damage from the tiles. This way, he doesn't have to stop at the save point, doesn't have to stop in cabin, can head straight on in. So that's kind of a neat little trick.
It is a nice trick. I do think it sucks up a little bit of extra time. Honestly, what you could do is just, when you get down here, just throw a couple cures on, like, yeah, just heal up the Sid. The Sid's gonna be fine. He's got 3,000 HP.
Alright, so PixelTamer going for round 2. Now, Avix is gonna find a little bit of disappointment at Painman, and hopefully he's gonna head directly to the tower. Is gonna do some Cure 2s. Now, Rydia sitting at around 1430 puts her at just under level 50. So probably wants to get some experience from this fight, but the Assure spot is only about 20k. So with 10k items, you're only looking around 40k. I get you all level. Let's see, not even that.
The Assura spot, or these spots in general, just don't give much experience. It's good for early, but at this point, you're better off just getting it. Do eggs or go do reuse.
Also, the irony of Dark Knight Cecil holding an Excalibur is not lost.
I like that a lot. All right, it looks like Crimson is on the right path, heading up the tower.
All right, with the levels that Avix is at, is not going to have any problem here. Now, what I actually didn't know. Let me see. Pull up his tracker. I wonder if Avix found the pass, because that might make things even up a little bit here.
It could.
Yes, but does have the pass.
So the pass is a really nice find. It will probably guarantee Crimson that third place spot. And Pixel, you see Rydia now with 200 HP. Rydia is going to be fine in this fight. Unless, Zeromus decides to be a real jerk and high roll both Rydias, which I'm not going to mention how many times that has happened.
It's possible. For a long time, I had one of the banners on my stream be Rosa taking 2590 from a big bag and just being like, really? You had to do that to me? Come on.
Just never underestimate that Z fight. It can turn upside down even for, really high level parties if you're not careful.
Alright, doesn't look like we're going to have any problems here. Probably only needs just that one heal. May only see one more big bang, and that would be it.
Yeah, with this is the one thing I love about reflex strats is you guarantee you don't have to have the HP refill.
Yep, and if you do it enough times, you kind of get a feeling of, and if you don't mind adding up the numbers, you have a pretty good idea of how much you need to heal and knowing, okay, this is going to do it. And as cheeky as it sounds, it has been very nice to go into a nuke and say, this is right here. I've got my dot done ready. I'm not fumbling on my keyboard trying to type dot done and typing like dot dinner or something like that.
Yeah. I will say this. Anyone that wants to learn reflex strats, play just some solo Rydia percents. You will learn how to really do those reflex strats.
Oh, yeah.
Or even better, what I have done is Porum percent, which I have known for rolling for.
I was gonna say you rolled me a Porum percent in the reject World Series event, so there you go. But I think we're gonna see a flash pretty soon from PixelTamer. This nuke might actually straight up do it.
Oh, the wall fell off.
Ow!
That's the one thing you gotta learn. Starvale does not last forever.
I still think he's okay.
You lost the Sid. The Sid is kind of unimportant for this party. And there's the flash.
Nice.
Pixel takes time of 131.28. GG to them.
Sid may begrudge the party a little bit, but otherwise, a pretty clean fight.
And we are already joined by PixelTamer. GG, very well.
Thanks. It feels a little heartbroken to have stopped the dot done in the middle of my first attempt when I thought things were going so well.
So the one question I have for you is, you had go mode first. You were on the moon first. You had 10 key items. Why did you go try to fight so many bosses?
Because I wanted to power up Boo. He was missing a lot of hit points.
The Sid is kind of well, yeah. No, I mean, I kind of got trying to power up the Foo. It's just it was a little strange because you have plenty of. He already has nuke, and you have plenty of nukers in a Rosa. Joined by PixelTamer.
Yeah, I guess I wanted to make sure he could survive Big Bangs, which ended up being relevant.
Oh, it certainly did. I mean, don't be mistaken. You still played incredibly well. It just. So the one question I have. Going for the moon bosses just cost you a little bit too much time for this one, and that's the only. 10 key items. But beyond that, very clean play overall. So the start of the seed though, Wyvern, Plague, Ogopogo.
Yeah, that was a bit of a rough start. I was super thrilled that Rosa dodged that Mega Nuke on Wyvern. I feel like that really put me ahead because I was able to get the early pan.
It was a little strange because you have an early required pan as well.
It felt a little bad to give up Kane, but I realized I didn't have enough gear to make him amazing, so it felt like it'd be better to go for the reflex strats.
Well, you made me proud. Rydia is my favorite character, so too much time for this one, and that's the only. But no, you had 10 key items, and you would be able to easily shot that Rydia, and you didn't have a good weapon for Kane, so it made a lot of sense to take that Rydia.
Yeah, thanks. I was definitely thrilled to see Go Mode that quickly. I didn't think it was possible in a Hummingway open seed.
I mean, it was bound to happen eventually.
Right, law of large numbers and whatnot.
Exactly. So, any other final thoughts on the seed or the Hummingway?
Still having a lot of fun. I am curious if I'm going to go 4 for 4 on second place finishes and end up with a nice round 12 points.
That still wouldn't be bad points to try to maybe squeak into that final. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing your last race and really rooting for you.
Yeah, thanks. It's been nice having a competition where I feel like I can actually make a difference, and as opposed to some of the Zima Zone qualifiers where I was just left in the dust a lot.
I mean, you beat me in all of the Zima Zone qualifiers except for one, so I will say this, I wouldn't count yourself short. You play incredibly well. It's just Tingle just pushed a little bit harder with that lower powered Foo, and that's where the whole difference was for this seed.
Yeah, and I think the 2 agility on Rydia made a difference, because definitely getting my other Rydia to 28 seemed to make the fight go easier than having the anchor at 30.
Oh, it definitely does. But again, GG, congrats on second place, and a very clean play overall.
Thank you. And thanks for restreaming this on short notice.
You bet.
So I will go ahead and sign off of voice and hop on to see how the other runners are doing.
Sounds good. And
so
during that,
like
it looks like...
Yeah, go ahead.
It sounds like we were gonna say the same thing. Avix in go mode, making use of that pass and going straight to their Garland Muss.
Yeah, after doing what is pretty close to a 28 out of 28, is now going to not need any grinding whatsoever and is going to head immediately to the Zeramus fight. Kaiser getting stuck on the old yee-ha-ha, but fortunately with the low magic spot, shouldn't be too much of a problem. You see, even his reflected virus is only doing a scant 350 HP.
Yeah, this spot's not too scary for Golbez. It's just annoying to deal with. And there we see Crimson getting into that Z fight. I haven't seen his level, so I don't know where his party is at.
Well, it rose at around 24, 45, Riddy around 17, so he's probably sitting around 53, 54 on Rydia, and probably somewhere in that neighborhood as well with Rosa. So 2400 is usually the magic number for Big Bangs when it comes to Rosa, to be almost 100% sure. I say almost because, sometimes he just don't care.
Like 1% chance that, he just decides to be a jerk and roll that 2500.
That one time where he just straight up Big Bangs your soul. Oh. But I think at this point, with these levels, not much of an issue. Garland's going to show up, attempt to knock him down, likely to fail miserably here.
There's the Silk Web, so going to have that first Big Bang nuke. And probably hit, I would say, probably the best of the characters to hit that Kane.
Yep, as long as it's not Fu or Rydia, really, would be the only problem. And he might run into a little bit of an issue if... I don't think Rosa naturally at mid-50s hits level 28. So unless there's some kind of agility boosting gear on Rosa, he might be a little faster than you would like Zeramus to be at this point.
That was a really fast Big Bang. I'm thinking this Rosa is right at that 27 agility, just based on how fast that came out. This is going to make this Z fight very, very difficult.
Yeah, and it's going to make it long, too, because you may not have time to get a few reflected nukes or whatnot, but you're also not going to be able to... Your Buckeye are only going to last 1 or 2 rounds, and then he's already casting Black Hole again.
He's already shaking. That's I really think that is a 27 agility Rosa. That is a very fast Z.
Oh.
This is something to keep in mind when you're going into that Z fight. Check who your middle slot is. Make sure they're not at that 27 agility. 27 agility is extremely painful.
Yeah, that's a spicy Zeramus. Oh my goodness. And you can see the Big Bang. And the other problem you're going to run into is that the characters are at a high enough level that they have a pretty good amount of HP, but maybe not as high enough level that 1 Cure 4 is necessarily going to do the job. And sometimes you might be able to get 2 Cure 4s off, but we see Avix is deciding to do a lot of reflects. I hope we can get 2 Cure 4s off before... Okay, there's one. So hopefully we see a second one before he starts shaking.
And you can see that Fu's Cure 4 just isn't strong. And there's the Black Hole that all his Berserks are gone. I think here you would want to do the Cure 4 with Rosa over Fu, and that's exactly what they're doing. Yep. Rosa's magic stats just better. And I hope you're confident in doing some nerfing of those big bangs at 27 agility. This is a fight I wouldn't take.
Yeah, it's a tough one. We're at the levels where if you just resort to not worrying about anything else and having Rosa straight up just cure 4 her life, cure 4, should be okay. But it also puts the combo platter on the table because he's going to queue up his commands really fast. So when you do get into Rock's phase, you might not have time to get that Cure 4 off in between. And while a Big Bang on its own is pretty scary doing around 2100, you combine that with a Meteor that could hit your entire party for 8 to 900, all of a sudden you're looking at 3000 damage in a flash. And if you look at the HP of our party, it could be trouble.
Ooh, that was a fairly high roll on that Big Bang. Rydia taking a dirt nap, and that was your reflect target. And then there's a virus. I think that Rosa's just barely hanging on, and there's the Cure 4. And it looks like Kaiser has finished up the moon, heading back to Earth. I hope he goes straight to that tower.
I will also have the pass here. Now, losing Rydia may not necessarily be a terrible thing on this fight, because with only 4 characters to divide the cures up now, they're going to be a little stronger. So you see, Rosa's now doing for 2000 damage per. So, not as much of an issue here as long as we don't see the combo platter. I think we're okay.
Yeah, a combo will probably wipe out this party if you don't get some really good dodges. Has the reflect back up on Sid. There's another shake. You can just see how fast this Z is. This is not a fun fight.
Yeah, he didn't even get off an item in time before he Big Banged him.
Ooh, the pass was from the D-Mist. I did miss that earlier.
Well, probably doesn't say it's a nice consolation prize if that's what you did.
If you've already full cleared the moon, you're ecstatic to see that pass. Flip side of the coin is you already full cleared the moon.
Yeah, so you didn't have to go there in the first place. So it's not only can you never go back, you never wanted to go there. Kaiser's got a shot here because this fast Zeramus is putting in some work.
You can see just how important that agility anchor is for the Z fight. For a lot of the boss fights, it's not quite as important, but for Z, it's almost crucial. You don't have to have exactly 28, but you want to either have really low or around that 28 and above it.
Yeah, as I've done, the more and more races I've done, it hasn't necessarily. I've kind of gone away from trying to hit 28 exactly, but you still want to have like one character who's in the neighborhood of like 30, 31, 32. Go with the best possible because man, at 26, 27, it can be such a chore. But it looks like we got a flash there. So, nice. Well, that was not an easy Zeramus fight with him being as fast as he was. So, well done.
No, CrimsonAvix still managing to do it. Well done on that. That is not an easy Z fight. We've all wiped because of that agility. Unfortunately, CrimsonAvix is declining an interview today, but just GG, well played. Congrats on 3rd place. And I will say, as rough as that Z fight is, you did a really good job handling it.
Yeah, it was one of those seeds where it gave you early moon, and it was nothing but free fight. Oh, there were some free fights, so there was some goodness there, but it was mostly bait. And if you took that bait, could be anywhere from 20 to 35 minutes that you just so hard to catch up from. So it was well played. Like any one of these seeds, you're finishing in an hour 44. You play and you 28 out of 28 it. You did pretty good.
I think the only two checks Crimson didn't do was the Luca key and the harp. So, you get through a seed like that in a sub 2 hour, very well played. And, with a Z fight, with Z being that fight, and you still get through it with those party members with that hit points, that's really well played. Great job on his part.
All right, so Kaiser got what needed for go mode, is going to forge that crystal and likely make a mincemeat of old Zeramus. Hopefully checks the agility anchors situation. Don't have anyone who's going to hit 28 naturally per se. It's one of the few reasons I like to have Yang at a party, because he'll hit 28 at a really nice level. But as long as it's not 20...
at the perfect level, it's like what, late 40s, somewhere in there.
Cecil is around 45. Yang is 51, which is, especially if you're doing like a mage party, is just perfect.
Oh no, I love Yang. I don't know why he gets so much hate. He requires no gear, and you just get those levels on him. Doesn't take that long. He's just such a good character.
Oh, I know why. It's called the first 30 minutes of the game when you stop doing anything other than punching for 150 damage.
The first 30 minutes, he's just really good at tanking the ground. After the first 30 minutes, when you've got a couple of levels, oh baby, give me that Yang.
Now we see one nice thing about Kaiser, he's got ribbons, he's got rune rings, we got protect rings, we got Zeus gauntlets. We just have a chock full of awesome treasures, so no huge issues about his white mages taking too bad of a big bang here.
So the nice thing is Kaiser is set up more for that Zerker strat, which the Zerker strat is definitely the easier of the three strategies. You just hit him with Berserk, let him go, have your white mage sitting there ready to cast Cure. And then you typically, for a Zerker strat, you don't have to do anywhere near as much grinding. Your Zerkers are usually online at that mid-40s point.
Yeah, and one nice thing, in a league match where your nerves are often through the roof, being able to go into that Z fight and just know, alright, this is going to be pretty simple. Just Zerk and get it done is a huge relief.
It very much is. I absolutely love Zerker strats, but, it's probably it is the slowest of the three strategies, but it's always pretty much the safest, especially if you get a Cecil with a crystal sword, which doesn't seem to crop up hardly at all anymore.
Not lately. It's about as rare as finding an edge, it seems like, especially an edge with weapons. But anyway, we're gonna head into the Z fight here. No big issues. Kaiser. Let's watch Kaiser show us how it's done.
Shouldn't have any trouble with this Z fight. But just to mention, if you want to find an edge, sell his weapons. He will appear.
Oh, yeah, that's true. This Murasame gives me 45k. I can buy all the hourglasses I want. Look who's at Dwarf Castle wielding dancing daggers and assassin daggers. Oh boy.
No, I'm not even kidding. It's every single time. It's like, I've been holding on to these. I need money. Sell them off. Oh, look, here's darkness. Oh, there's the... Or even better, you finally get annoyed. You've been holding that crystal sword all seed long, and you need to buy those. Yeah.
So it looks like Kaiser's going with Sid as the anchor at around mid-50s, probably sitting around 18 or 19 agility. Not terrible, not optimal, but this should be just fine here. probably didn't want to get that, was 1 or 2 levels off with Yang. Or might also have like a cat claw with Yang at this point because he's done so much content.
I mean, the nice thing is with the Zerker strat, the agility anchor isn't quite as important.
Yep.
An 18, 19 agility gonna be perfectly fine. It's still gonna be a little bit of a rough fight, but you shouldn't have too much.
Yeah, you might not be able to get as many shenanigans off in between Cure 4s as you would like, and maybe you lose an attack or two here from a character getting black holed right after they get a Bacchus off. But otherwise, with a solid Zerk strat party, 19-20 agility, you're okay. Doing full reflex strats with Fu as an anchor on Battle Speed 1, then we need to have a discussion. But otherwise, with this party, Kaiser should be just fine.
We do not discuss full reflex strats with Fu as your anchor unless he has a cursed ring.
Yeah, it can be tricky sometimes.
Yeah. No. Like I said, you can see this Yang 4,000 HP, Sid with over 4,000 HP. This is not going to be a difficult Zeromus. Rosa is at that 2,400, unless he gets just that really unlucky Big Bang, which we've all experienced. Shouldn't have too much trouble. And going with the hybrid strats, I really like this. You're going to be able to pump out even more damage, especially if you don't have an optimal agility anchor. It just takes a little bit longer to get the hybrid set up, but you're not going to have any trouble.
Yeah, and if you don't have like uber weapons, it can be nice to push you past the first phase change when you do about 40,000 damage to Zeromus. And if you time that right to where he phase changes right when he's about to shake, you can skip a Big Bang entirely and get way more damage out of your Zerkers before you even see a first full Big Bang.
Certainly is the case. It's always lovely when that happens. But I think he has that defense sword for Kane. Kane's going to pump out some pretty solid damage. Sid doing some good damage with that rune axe. And Yang, well, it's Yang. He's doing pretty solid damage as well.
Yeah, Yang punch. Oh, we might see a flash pretty soon at this rate.
Shouldn't take too terribly long. Doing a very good job on the Z. And here's the problem with Fu. He just doesn't have MP.
Yeah, he casts 3 nukes and his old Lunarian bones get tired. When you turn 165, it gets a little difficult to cast nuke these days. Just ask Tella.
I mean, Tella at least still has a really good job for the Z fight. He remains on the ground bit.
The floor.
Though I will say, I have had a Tella survive the entire Z fight. That was a very interesting experience.
Oh, how much money do I have to pay Scala Kitty to make a Tella sprite an actual anchor?
Ooh, that was a pretty decent Big Bang across the party. Should be okay, though.
Yeah, as long as we don't see Meteo right now.
That nerd's coming out. Should be pretty close.
Yeah, that's my only worry. As long as we don't see a Meteo, I think we're okay.
Oh, there's the...
Oh!
There it is. GG Kaiser.
Well, like you said before, anytime you pull off a 26, 27, 28 out of 28 on these seeds, and you do it in a time of under 2 hours, you play just fine. So, well done to Kaiser, getting 4th place with a time of 1 hour 54 minutes. So just to do a quick recap before we get Kaiser in here for an interview, we had Tinglenator coming first with a time of 1 hour 14 minutes 7 seconds. PixelTamer in second with a time of 1 hour 31 minutes 28 seconds. CrimsonAvix in third with a time of 1 hour 44 minutes 21 seconds. And Kaiser coming in fourth with a time of 1 hour 54 minutes and 1 second. All 4 of these racers went in with 6 points. So that puts Tinglenator at 10, PixelTamer at 9, CrimsonAvix at 8, and Kaiser at 7.
nothing to be ashamed of, especially for Kaiser and Crimson. You did a lot of checks, only missing 2, and still doing this in sub 2 hours. That is very, very well done. GG to them.
Yeah, there was very clean play all around. We did not see hardly any wipes at all, and the only wipes you really did see were, hey, look, it's Wyvern. He does that. And good old Pain Man, which, again, he also tends to do that in the wrong spot too. So like all 4 of our racers handled this seed exceptionally well, I feel like.
And we are joined by Kaiser. GG.
GG. Boy, wiping 3 times to plague at Mount Hobbs kind of carried that with me for the rest of the seed. Got my head a little bit.
It sometimes that forces you to get in your own head. But I mean, I will say this: you got almost every check in the game, except for I believe 2 in sub 2 hours. That's still incredibly well played. So,
thank you.
There's nothing to be ashamed of. I mean, I've even seen Dusty Griff sometimes struggle with seeds. So, I would say don't beat yourself up. You played incredibly well tonight.
Well, thank you very much. Yeah, I'm happy with most of what I did. I mean, I got baited by Moon, but who plays this game without getting baited by Moon? Yeah, I mean, obviously checking the tower earlier would have been better for this seed, but you don't know that until you get there.
No.
And doing all those checks got me a really good party for the Z fight. So there you go.
I will say it looked like you had probably the easiest of the Z fight of all the runners. And, when you have a seed that just kind of opens up like this one did, you have quick early darkness, you have magma key, you have, a bunch of other rabbit holes. It's just really hard. And it's kind of boils down to who guesses best first.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I felt really good about knowing that one of the famed arch bosses was Water Hag because I had seen the Fabul Gauntlet already. But then I got a little overconfident trying to kill Dark Knight Cecil. And decided that a Stardust Rod was not worth fighting the Gauntlet again. Or fighting Water Hag again, rather.
No, it certainly isn't. And Water Hag at Leviathan, Water Hag is free except for in just those couple of spots.
Yeah, I would have had to do the life potion dance a little bit to make sure that the right characters got the right amount of experience. Make sure to get that slingshot onto Yang. But yeah, I don't know the stats of some of the spots very well, so I figured, hey, Azura can't have that much attack power, right? Right? Apparently not. Anyway, this is really fun. Even though I got last place, I'm still really happy about it, and I'm really glad I did this. And I'm looking forward to the next week.
I wouldn't be remotely ashamed of the last place. Playing incredibly well, and I'm looking forward to your next race in HOpen, and looking forward to seeing you in future tournaments as well.
Thank you. Here's to qualifying for Highway to the Zima Zone next year, eh?
I would love to see you in it. So GG, very well played, and good luck on your future race.
Thank you, GG, and good luck to everyone else in the HOpen. Good luck to everyone doing Zima Zone, and I hope you all have a good night.
I will say, don't let those raindrops bother you. All restreamers, and myself included, have had issues crop up, and I've seen even Scala Kitty. Oh, stream it just happened. So thank you so much for doing the restream. It was a lot of fun to actually get to do commentary with you, and hoping to get to do more with you in the future. See y'all next time.